Yo, what's up, world? This is Dane Tomas, and you're listening to the Dane Tomas podcast. Every week, I talk to experts, weirdos, new friends, and old ones about everything from magic to business to creativity and human awakening. So, strap yourself in, lay back and relax, cause we're heading straight for the black hole. Hey man, thanks for doing this.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for the invite.
Listeners, welcome to the Dane Tomas podcast. I'm here with Nyaniso Dzedze, who I've known for a few years and realize I've been saying his name wrong for a lot of that time. He is a well-known actor and dancer in South Africa, and recently is getting some more international blow up with featuring in the brand new, at the time of recording, Beyonce visual album / movie Black is King. So congratulations on that, man. I really would love to get a little bit into that with you. And I also know you as a healer and facilitator as well. You know, like you came into my world through the spiral, and then I only realized you were somewhat of a celebrity in your home country after the fact. So it's been an interesting journey to get to know you, not from what you were famous for. So yeah, welcome. Thanks for getting into this. And yeah, I'd love to know, like, things must be kind of blowing up for you at the moment. How are things going with the Black is King just being launched? What's happening in your world right now?
Before I answer that, I've got a quick question, of which I realized I should have asked you before you press record. But anyway, I'll ask you now.
Go for it.
Who's your audience, and how freely can I speak?
You can speak as freely as you wish. My audience, as far as I know so far, are coming from the kind of spiritual, world, as well as the kind of entrepreneurial, creative sort of world. So ranging from artists to entrepreneurs to woo-woo, wizardy, witchy types. I talk a lot on here about anal penetration, death, taboos, religion, you name it. So I think we're pretty good as far as the limits are. I don't know any limits so far. Yeah, so you can bring it, man. Yeah.
Geez. I guess I'll speak whatever comes to mind, and if there's any kind of direction that you wish to, inquire on, go forth.
Yeah. Bro.
Black is King has been really cool. I'm still finding myself settling into what that experience was, because even as I was a part of it, even as I was just engaging with the LA team and Queen Bee and all of that stuff, I was in this like sussing space and trying to make sense of what it all was. And I guess if I was off that mindset, I probably would have been pinching myself and going, okay, cool. Not from is this a dream place, but kind of like what is this reality requiring of me and stuff like that, and where is it taking me, and what aspects of like what I'm calling in is it meeting, and it's been magical. It's been magical. It's been really, really, really exciting and really cool.
Yeah, for those who maybe aren't tuned into this, I would imagine a lot of my listeners are, but for those that aren't, Black is King is now just been released it's on Disney. I'm going to watch it this weekend. I haven't seen it yet. I'm excited to watch it. So check it out if you don't know what we're talking about. Yeah, it's huge, man. I was like, oh shit, like he's with Beyonce in this thing. Awesome. Is there new opportunities and things coming into your world right now? Like, do you feel there's a door open from this? Like, what's happening right now in your world?
I feel like doors are opening from a career point of view, and also from how the world is engaging and receiving me. But at the same time, this lockdown and COVID is also playing its toll, and so doors aren't opening the same way as as they would if there was no lockdown. It's funny, I was chatting to a casting agent in New York yesterday, and we're just having conversations about what the reality of our current situation is and what it would have been like if there was no COVID. And I was just like taking it all in. It's been really cool. I'm always coming from a point of going, of just looking at the optimistic side of things, of looking at what's life showing me in this, what can I learn from this, and how can I grow from this, no matter how the situation looks. And so, yeah, you'll often hear me say, it's really cool.
Yeah, I was really happy to see that landing for you. And, you know, like I said, I haven't seen it yet, but some of the bits of imagery I've seen, one thing that strikes me is this magical expression seems really present. And, you know, I'm bringing that up because a lot of the crux of where I'm going and where I'm wanting to go with this show, we're on like episode 12 right now, but a lot of where I'm wanting to go with this podcast and with the Dark Wizard Media brand is about bringing magic more into the mainstream, bringing a wider range of narratives and frequencies into the spiritual discussion, because, you know, I feel like the kind of white light, fluffy spirituality is quite established in the world. But then there's all these other forms of denser, realer, rawer spirituality that exist that are not really, you know, they don't show up in The Secret or in the, like, you know, Hallmark card version of spirituality. And I think we sort of chatted a couple of weeks ago, I think it was, online, and really there's this thread that I think we share, which is we each have a relationship to the magician archetype or the wizard archetype, or an angle into that magical journey. And, you know, anyone who's listening to this is probably acquainted with me, and there's this kind of like tantric background and a lot of influence from particularly the Western esoteric tradition and Aleister Crowley, and, you know, ritual magic as it's come through very English, European ceremonial traditions that essentially have borrowed from the Greeks, and before that the Egyptians, and also Hebrew Kabbalah and so on, but really very white, black magic elements, but white in terms of culture. Yeah, in terms of like this, that's some white people's ceremonial magic shit, you know? And one thing I was excited to chat with you about, shut up Siri, you're not in this. One thing I was excited to chat with you about is where you've come into when we start talking about things like magic. I know you have some really different roots and some access to some stuff that I know nothing about. So I really wanted to, whatever degree feels appropriate, dig into like some of your lineage around that.
Exciting shit. I feel myself getting excited engaging with you on this. So I guess that's the energy behind it, and that's what of it wants to be shared. I am Xhosa. I am from ancestral and cultural roots. Xhosa is one of the 11 languages, or the 11 officially recognized sects of people, of the Black people, especially in South Africa. And I come from that culture of being very connected to our ancestry, of the people that gave birth to us, of the people that came before us. And we acknowledge them as spirit, as guides, as almost like the bridge point between us and the spirit realm, and the magic and the power that comes on the other side of that. And also they are like the bridge to what God is and the infinite of that, and how big that other world is. we call on them and we do rituals for them, as per how we feel them communicating themselves to us, in order to keep that relationship and the connection to them and the spirit realm and the magic of that realm alive and strong and potent. So ritual gatherings, slaughterings, ritual brewing of traditional alcohol, and ritual cultural communal work. And that is a big part of my world and where I come from. And the more one allows themselves to surrender and open up to the messages and that transmission and the communication and those rituals, the more potent the energy that you show up in the world. And I guess for me, I accredit a lot of how my life is laying itself out in the world to that aspect, but also very much with what white spirituality has taught me. And I was able to take some of the messages and the teachings from my culture and find meeting grounds with what white spirituality had to teach me. And that journey pretty much all began when I started to engage and interact with you, the spiral world, and everything else that it relates to, and the magic that comes with that. I mean, I'd come across The Secret and stuff like that before having engaged with you, but it all really started to land and sew itself together from you onwards. And when I say you, I know me and you, we hooked up around about 2016, around about this time, I think.
Yeah.
And ever since then, it's been a journey of just opening up more and more and more into all of the worlds. I was going to say both worlds, but actually when I was doing yoga this morning, I realized there's another reality that actually hasn't been given voice to, and I look forward to chatting about that just now.
I'm just going to take a moment to let that sink in. It's really cool because I feel the synergizing of us having this conversation, you know, like each of these chats, I'm like, okay, well, I'm doing this podcast. Why personally do I want to do it? And I set this frame that everyone that I get on here, you know, I'm opening myself to receive somewhat of their transmission and their magic and their potency and their power, like to get an activation of sorts or a learning or an awakening from each conversation, you know, and I've held that strongly, and it's definitely happening. You know, I've had some super interesting people on here. So it's almost like the intention of opening portals for exchange, you know, and that anyone listening gets to get this fusion of whatever our energies represent to them. They get to wake up some more of that in themselves. With, you know, I'd love to get a little more context about, because my sense is, you know, I know little bits from you and secondhand from Yana and from following you guys online a little bit, but I also get this sense of like I don't really know much about what's going on in your magical spiritual reality apart from these kind of little snippets, you know. And yeah, I guess what I want to ask is like, what's the interplay, say, between you connecting to your ancestral magical roots, and how does that sit against like contemporary South African culture and the mainstream, you know, what mainstream religious or mainstream narrative? Where does that sit in reference to these potent tribal and ancestral roots that you're accessing? Like, are these two things at peace with each other, or are they at odds, or do they mix together, or do they not? Like, I'd love to get a little more background, because what I do know is the vast bulk of my audience is not in South Africa, so they do not know about that world very much.
I feel like this is a universal piece. But South Africa is a great mirror for that, or for at least from my perspective. At the surface level, on how society generally, holds the two, society often holds it as contrasting realities. But because I was raised by a Christian mother, I found that these worlds are actually they coexist, and the true depth of how much bigger the magic can get, and how much more potent it can be in you, is from allowing them to coexist.
Yeah.
It's actually us, humans, and our ideas and how we interpret things, that's we're creating this reality where they actually clash and don't exist, where there's one that's right and one that's from the devil, and stuff like that. And I see it, like I said, universally across the world. There's so many beautiful ritualistic cultures out there in the world, and they feel like it needs to clash with whatever the religion of that country or the society is, and it actually doesn't. I feel like religion is focused mainly on the God reality, and God rules, God-centric approaches of life, and ritual and cultures connects you to, or rather is the bridge from the physical human experience to the God realm, and like I said, the benefit of having allowed myself to delve in every part of, or to more than just one part of this conversation, is having seen how they all interconnect. I was raised by my mom first and primarily, and so most of my teachings were like Christianity and Jesus and all of that stuff. And then the more I grew, the more I started to journey into manhood. And when you start journeying into manhood as a Black Xhosa man, culturally, you start to go into the ancestral stuff of whether you like it or not, because you're named and taught things that are based upon culture, upon what ritual is, upon how you hold family as per your forefathers. That's when you start going into forefathers, therefore foremothers, and therefore ritual and culture and slaughterings, and how then your manhood is held both physically and from a spiritual, energetic place. And then I started to, so this was around about 18 when I started to, because up until 18 I was quite Christian and quite here and stuff. And when I went from like 18 is when the world of culture and ritual and wanting to, and like literally just feeling the draw and the pull into my culture and religion, my culture and rituals. And that's when I started to feel their effect on my being, on my soul, on my spirit. And when I say that, I mean like I would have out of body experiences, or sometimes in body experiences, where I'm in spirit and doing things that are beyond what I would naturally do from my own conscious state. And that's when that world started to piece itself together. And when I met Yana, and our relationship started to, show up and teach me new things, that's when I started to delve into what's white magic got to teach me. And meeting you, and then like I really took time, because I was around about 26, I think, or 27, something like that. Yana's hair. I think I was 28 or something like that when I met you, and then I dived into everything that Spiral and let's call it white magic again had to teach me. Had to teach me white spirituality and all of that stuff. And I was like, fuck, seeing how people that read stars, cards, and connect to like angels and all of that stuff. And then I started to see the threads from that through culture into Christianity. And then I started to because of my being and my body and my who I am, the foundation was ritual, Xhosa culture, but then everything else started to piece itself into that experience and that journey and who I am. I hope I answered your question
Beautifully. In the way I would frame that back to myself is really what you're living is quite an integrated approach to magic and spirituality, which is supported by these traditional roots, and then all this other stuff has been woven in with it. And yeah, it's really exciting to hear it framed and mapped out in that way. Yeah, it's so cool.
So what I want to share with you is that I was doing yoga, right? I was asking myself, what is it that I feel is going to come through or wants to come through between myself and Dane? And then I was like, we're going to talk about woo stuff. I was like, what do I understand about woo stuff right now? And I was like, well, I realized that when I was in my woo journey, and that means white spirituality and all of that stuff and magic, I thought I'd figured it out. I thought that this is it. I was like, this is the shit. And I was like, my life has been a lie. Like all of this like fucking physical experience living, that shit has been false all along. and I was like, but what's my current reality? My current reality is actually it's all true. And it's all good. I remember that I went through the phase that many people that do the woo-woo journey at some point or another do this thing of going, fuck, I forsake whatever my physical experience and my physical living was, and now I'm committed to this spiritual magic journey and connecting to the flowers and the plants and the fairies and shit, and like like money is the devil and I don't need that shit no more and all of that stuff. And then people then deny themselves what the physical journey was teaching them and showing them, whereas I want to say God, spirit, spirituality, the spiritual realm, the all-knowing infinite light, whatever, was saying, nah, homie, that's a part of that too.
Yeah.
And it's all to be had, all to be experienced, and it all is going to teach you something and take you somewhere. Had the same thing when I did ISTA, right? got to ISTA and I was like, oh, conscious sexuality, this is the shit. My sex life was a lie. No more of that like unconscious sex shit. Now I'm gonna be breathing from my fucking scrotum every time I have sex. And then I realized, nah. I mean, like this is when did I do ISTA? Like maybe about 3 years ago now, something like that. And I realized that like after like, you know, spending some time in really understanding what conscious sexuality is and connecting through various parts of your being to connect with another person and their being, it's also really great to be like all about like that unconscious shit, like just like about like what it's like to put a penis in a vagina. Oh my God.
Yeah.
You know, and that shit is just as potent and magic and got so many lessons to teach you as connecting with various parts of you in sex. And this is what I felt like was the big secret, the big magical reveal is it's all inclusive. It's all a part of your journey. It's all a part of your lesson, and it's all a part of your spiritual up-leveling. And the moment that you are able to take it all, this love for money and how you want to use it and how you want to spend it and how you want to whatever, and also just like what's life when you don't have any of these physical acquisitions and just connecting to the earth and the soil and the air and the water and the sun. That has lessons that are equally potent, and putting them all together gives you what you call integrated. And that's the true magic. True magic is being able to source from it all and harness it into whatever it is that you feel called to do.
Yeah, that is a killer soundbite. I love that piece you just dropped. I want to pivot a little. There's another commonality we've had, and it's something I've seen you going deeper into over the last few years, which is really about working with men and being passionate about masculinity and healthy masculinity and so on. And you know, I'm going to hazard another guess about my listeners, even though I don't really know, but is that maybe, you know, I'll speak for myself. You know, I've gone down the men's work journey, you know, men's circles, masculine archetypes, king, warrior, magician, lover, sexuality, tantra, integrating the masculine and the feminine and so on. And so I know that territory pretty well. And I know a bunch of online leaders that are representing versions of that. So I know there's some of that out there that is probably becoming more accessible, you know. But what I'm curious about, particularly the flavors I know, is very much an American, Aussie, British flavor of men's work and men discovering themselves and dealing with emotions and so on. And that's really awesome. But my assumption is that there may be, you know, the issues that men face are the issues that men face globally. And I'm curious about what might be different about that work in South Africa, or for Black men particularly. Like, is there different things beyond the like men don't show their feelings and all that sort of stuff? Because I see you speaking about wanting to empower Black men particularly, and I'm curious, what are the issues that you see that Black men in your country face and are dealing with, if you're open to getting into that?
Absolutely, and I'd love to chat a bit more from your perspective, because
Yeah,
I got to work.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't think that there's a better or worse, even though I think what the evidence shows is that at least in my world, in my country, Black men are quite broken. And so I'm doing this work and focusing on Black men because I'm a Black man.
Yeah.
And I live and breathe, know what their experience is, and what it's been for me, it's realizing that there's a deep need to untangle what fucking slavery and apartheid has had, the effects that it's had on Black men, and this Western primarily belief that men shouldn't be showing up in their feminine or female or like feminine, what's the English word, feminine parts of themselves. And because they've denied so much of that, there is an unspoken, unconscious resentment for anything that resembles the feminine in Black men, because we keep getting taught to deny and rebuke our own inner feminine, but now I must appreciate and love and hold this outer feminine woman, right? And so I see that, like, I'm sure you can feel it in the word. I felt it myself when I said that. this hate for like, why the fuck must I love something else when I have to hate it in me? And I keep getting this vision of, like, culturally, and I'm going back to it. Culturally, like, in the roots of the past, we wore skirts, wraps. Many. I think actually all of the Black cultures that I know, we all wore wraps and skirts, and in that, it's, yes, the invention of pants wasn't in our scheme of life or whatever, but it was also allowing ourselves, it was also an invitation to connect and see in ourselves the woman that we saw in women. And because now we've denied that and had to even change just from dressing point of view, forget even getting to emotions and what you allowed to feel, there is this brokenness that comes with having denied ourselves that. And so my commitment to that journey is not only to reconnect men to their feminine, but just allow men to be all of themselves.
Yeah.
And that's what my men's group page on Facebook, Vela Data, is about. It's about, look, there's just certain rules about, like, just not being abusive towards each other in the space, but generally show up in anything and everything that comes up for you, and we'll hold it in any way that you wish it for it to be held. And it's been big and beautiful, especially as of COVID having hit, and men had nothing else but that space to just allow themselves to pour out. And I've seen so much beauty and very slow but gentle healing happening, and necessary healing. And I keep saying that being an artist is the vehicle. The calling and the purpose for me is to heal the space of men and tell their stories, and tell their stories at a wide scale, and also to, this is slightly off topic, but anyway, I'll mention it, and also to allow Black children to see themselves and their dreams as valid. And that's pretty much the focus of how I want, and I continue to use the vehicle of the artist to serve this brokenness that I see in the world, in my world, and trusting that people like yourself are going to take it upon themselves in their capacity for their world to heal the brokenness that they see. And that's been the beauty of that. So having said that, what was your calling to begin that man's journey?
With me, it started. I was in a relationship with Vanessa Florence, who started dancing Eros. Some people may know that practice or may not. So the woman that I was with was. I was launching the Spiral around that time. It was starting to come through really, first weeks of this, the title, the Spiral, this thing is happening, which is, as you know, particularly at the time, was a very consciousness sort of piece. And the woman I was in a relationship with was bringing through very much an erotic feminine embodiment piece. So all around me, her kind of tribe were women exploding into their sexuality and their full expression, and unleashing new shades of the feminine that many of them hadn't really lived fully before, and through archetype work. And I really celebrated that. I loved it, but I was quite challenged in, okay, I could hold this woman yesterday, but since yesterday she's unleashed her wild woman or whatever, and I'm like, I have no clue how to hold presence to that. Like, what the fuck? The person who came home wasn't the person who went out this morning, right? So it's like, how do I initially I was initiated by trying to hold the feminine initially, of like, I can't hold that. That is a crazy ass energy I'm no match for that, And at first I'd be like going for my meditation, my Shiva, like I'm just being more present, and I was like, yeah, that ain't going to be enough, So I started looking for the equivalent masculine initiatory work, which I'd done a little bit of, but I found it light on, like King, Warrior, Magician, Lover stuff, that the men seem to have the concepts, but no one was showing me like, okay, this is how you be a king. It was like, this is the king, this is what he represents. And I was like, and then how do I like be one, because at least at my current perception, the slut or the priestess or the wild woman could be danced, could be embodied, but no one was really showing me, okay, this is, and this might be different. You might actually have this side, but in that world, I was like, well, I don't think I really dance the king. How do I like be in the king, And so I started looking for these masculine archetypes, and no one was really teaching them in an embodied way. And I started running these initiations and experiments, and okay, we're going to all go jump off a cliff together to get into our warrior, or we're going to go and perform for the women to be in our lover or in our artist, or we're going to do a bunch of ritual to be in our priest, or whatever it was. We started playing with these different flavors, and I started to see, oh, these are changing me, these are doing stuff to me. And so then I got a little deeper, and then I did like you've read the book. I did like 150 days of living. Okay, I'm calling in the beast, the wild man. I changed to the beast, and I built a big fucking pile of bones in my front yard. And I'd never lifted weights in my life. I'm going to start lifting weights and sleeping on the beach and building fucking altars out of bones, and like just really trying to like call in something that I really didn't know. Like you're talking about finding this like what you call white spirituality, which is quite humorous to me. But what I hear is it's very much consciousness oriented. It's kind of up here, And I was starting to be like, well, how the fuck do I get down there? Like my mind and my consciousness and my ability to touch the subtle realms is quite developed, but my ability to go into density or to bring through like wildness or rawness, it's very fragile, And I'm like watching fucking Vikings on TV going like, oh, these guys look like me and they had it, So I started kind of looking for, and it was interesting in that kind of spiritual scene. In the next few years, I seen a bunch of white dudes with little braids and little shaved parts and it's like, oh, we've clocked on that we can't really cruise around stealing like Native American stuff to plug our roots back in, and we're not getting invited to ritual slaughterings and into the world that you're naming. So there's this kind of like desperate, like, how the fuck do I find lineage? What would my lineage be, And it's like, and so it's really interesting looking at the work you're naming with black men in South Africa, you know, the contents of the conditioning and the damage that has been done to one group of people is different than another group. But in the big picture, it's essentially the same work, right? Like it's healing or letting go of trauma that has been put in, and you know, it almost sounds funny to sort of suggest that like white people are carrying intergenerational trauma when in a way I feel like, let's say British ancestry, it's like, oh, we're carrying it, but we're carrying it. Maybe the Romans did it to the people on my island, like in fucking whatever. So it's so normalized that we're not, you know, there's people with their little button-up shirts and their stiff constriction energy that is, it's just considered normal. And it's like, actually, you know, these people used to be wild once as well, but it's so long ago that there's very few reference points except for, you know, I'm just watching like mythical fucking and you know, it's King Arthur, it's the Vikings, it's the Celts. I'm like, okay, so there were white people that had like lineage of something, and like I don't know any that are like this right now, but this is what I started. So I just started looking for archetypes and practices and ways to call in and embody, and I guess almost trying to rebuild some ancestry, because all the masculinity books that I would dive into, you know, there's one thing seemed to be common was this story that because the Western male is missing initiation rituals, you know, since the industrial era at the very least, you know, what does the boy do? He grows up to work in the factory where his dad has been working. You know, there's no handing down of this is how you be a man, son. It's like, well, you be a man when you go work in the factory. It's like, that's it. It's like, fuck. That doesn't feel very significant. It just feels like you finish school, you go to the factory or you go to the office. And it's like the thing that I read a bunch of those books and talked to some older men running men's work stuff. And there was this constant theme of like, once upon a time, we had initiations, but that is gone. And so, you know, groups of old white dudes with beards sitting around singing and trying to call back in like some form of ritual and structure. So I guess I went looking for some of that, and started building my own attempts at initiations and integrations, and archetypes were a sort of a bridge between the consciousness magic into the, they could, if they were dealt with in a powerful enough way, they could bring some sort of embodied experience that was like, fuck, I was in my king, or my warrior came in and I was stronger than I am, you know. And so that's how the book The Integrated Man got written. And then once I rode that through and I felt like I had my masculine as I understood it had matured, probably it's interesting, like you would have come and done Spiral, I was starting to tip to like, well, yeah, the masculine piece, it seems like he's healed, he's growing up, but what about my feminine? And that's when I started looking for more the embodiment journey and the ISTA, International School of Temple Arts, for those who don't know it, and looking for like, okay, well, if my masculine's growing up or healing up, but there's still some things missing and we're not putting them in the category of masculine, there must be that other thing that I don't want to do, you know, like, and like, what are they going to make me wear a dress or stick some shit up my ass or make me do something awkward because I can do feelings, but I'm not ready to do like, and this is I didn't even know what went on in certain containers, but I knew that I was very uncomfortable to go there. And so that started. And also there was a difference as well. Like, it was the masculine and the feminine, but I started to realize most of my spiritual growth had been what I would call consciousness, you know, getting more aware and more awake, more sharp, more on purpose. And then I started to realize there was a descent journey, you know, that was about going deeper into matter, deeper into the flesh, deeper into the earth and the here and now, that was completely missing from my practices. And that journey of the descent and realizing, yeah, I'm a boss up here, but I'm weak down there. I'm hopeless in these kind of containers. And so that's starting to go into more like the shamanic experiences and the descent based experiences, and realizing like, okay, there's a whole world that I haven't tapped here yet. And kind of like what you're saying. And then in the last couple of years, starting to go, okay, I can still use this consciousness that is a gift and is quite mature, and now I can bring embodiment or erotic energy or journeying with death stuff or the earth or anything you would put as the darker, more denser realities. And yeah, so almost similar journey from the maybe opposite starting point or different entry points, but coming to a place of, okay, well, really, it's not even about men or women or light or dark. I just want to be all of it. Like, I just want to be free to be, whatever this being really is beyond flesh and brain, a brain and a body. Like, I want to be able to express the whole fucking spectrum. And what I know is, as far as I've gone in this society, there are edges where, well, I don't do so well at expressing that energy, or I can do this one, but I can't do that one. And yeah, just really trying to map that world and become more of a complete being.
Fuck. Do you mind if I run outside quickly and just put out my dustbin for the dustbin man?
Do it. I think we'll edit. Just do it. Yeah. Oh, I know what I would like to ask you. That is a little aside. That was humorous for me. Oh, yeah. So we messaged a week ago or 2 weeks ago, whatever, and the actual initial conversation started. You shared a meme, and it was a picture of Iceberg Slim, right? And I was like, oh, Iceberg Slim, the writer? And you were like, oh, I thought he was a rapper or whatever. I'm like, nah, bro. He was like a pimp from the 20s who wrote this book and this book, and got to show my little geek on Chicago pimp history or whatever. And you replied with the comment is like, oh, I'm going to go to black culture prison. And that was so hilarious for me because, obviously I am a white dude living in Australia, and we're talking about black American culture. And I'm like, oh, this guy wrote this book, And so to hear that comment from me, I was like, how could a black guy even, I don't know, it was a very passing comment, like a very, throwaway humorous comment of like, oh, I'm going to go to black culture prison. I was like, how would a black guy even think that? Like what does that mean? So I just want to open that conversation because what it got me to thinking about is like, I guess globally, as far as a non-black person who has consumed and been influenced by a lot of black American culture and a little bit of black British culture, that's what dominates the media narrative, as far as I would imagine, in a lot of the world of like what black even is, like it's like it maybe because American culture in general is so loud and so much media is created that if you're not a non-black person in the world, not living in a country with a lot of black people, your access to black culture is probably black American culture. That's kind of this whole chain I started to think through. And so I just wanted to open up that thread of, there's so much going on around black and white and power and race on the global media narrative right now, but most of it is still an American voice. And I don't even know what I want to ask you. I just want to open a platform where if there's anything you want to say about that or anything worth sharing about that we could get into that a little.
Yeah, man. I don't know. It's not something that I created. Something that I experienced. There's this idea of, well, if you're this, you should know that.
Totally.
If you do this, then you should know that. And some of that mindset is helpful because it invites you to go, oh shit, let me go explore that thing. But sometimes it actually feels like judgment more than anything. And in that judgment, after that, you get your sentence, which is jail time of, there's this thing on Twitter of, oh, we're writing somebody off.
The cancel culture thing.
The cancel culture, and that's the kind of stuff that a lot of people, as much as it's spoken of, like sometimes lightly or in passing, it's scary to not know and to feel canceled or given some sort of judgment because of what you're not clued up on. It's something that I'm slowly now trying to untwine and untangle within myself. But I was speaking very honestly, really, in when I said that statement.
Yeah, and I loved it. I loved it.
From a certain layer of myself that's still, you know, subscribed to the idea of, oh shit, I better not tell nobody that I didn't know Iceberg Slim. But yeah, that's pretty much what the journey is, and the journey has been, and the fact of the matter is, I don't know a lot of shit about some big or important South African figures. Forget even African or like just black.
Yeah.
There's a lot that I'm just not clued up in because I'm not called to it. I'm not drawn to it. It doesn't excite or ignite me, so I don't retain that stuff. And I guess that's how a lot of people are. And I'm on a journey of forgiving myself for that stuff. But also because of the narrative that's going on around Black people right now, with all of our pain coming up and our wounding, and us, you know, trying to make a solid stance in redeeming our power and honor, there is a weight upon how Black are you? How much are you for Blackness, for Black people? Because it kind of feels like the world is coming from a perspective of, we need to be for Black people more than ever now, because this is the time that we are trying to change the bullshit of the past. And so even that has been a scary conversation that I, because of the nature of who I am and the work that we do, I dove into when it came to being a married Black man to a white woman. And I was like, oh shit. And that was a big, beautiful journey that I am still ongoing with and unpacking right now. And blessed be me, because I have a wife that does the same work as me, and we both believe that whatever comes up, it comes for a reason, for our lesson, for our growing, and so we both are venturing into that. We're both venturing into, okay, cool. We need to talk about how our marriage and our differences, and me being Black and her being white, affects the narrative of the world today, and how or what wounds and what threads need to be untangled in us. And that's been big, beautiful, and magical. And I'm because of being married to a white woman, I kind of feel like the pressure to be more clued up on Black shit is higher. Right. It's like now I have to prove myself even more that I'm a Black for Black people.
Right.
And it's like God damn it. So yeah.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, man. I've really enjoyed and respected, and also someone's been like, holy shit, when watching you guys with full on transparency unpack and not just the Black and white, but simultaneously the man and the woman. So it's kind of like this this very intensely charged container of, you know, what I would now call intersectionality of like, well, there's the Black and the white experience here, but then there's the man and the woman experience here. So there's this, it's like not so cut and dried of like, well, you're the oppressor and I'm the like victim. It's like, well, yes, but on the other side of it, you're a man and I'm a woman. So it's kind of like this double-sided, like, okay, right. So who's got the privilege in this? Oh, you do in this situation, but you do in this situation. Okay, right. And I was like, just almost this individual human expression of, holy shit, this stuff is complicated, you know?
Yeah.
Like what's playing out in group culture scale is one thing, but when you see individuals have to reconcile that inside themselves and inside their marriage, it's like, okay, like there is so much culture, conditioning, dynamics, narratives that are at play. So watching you guys like throw the spiritual shadow work toolkit at it and be like, okay, we're facing this, and I'm integrating my white oppressor. Well, I'm integrating my like cheating husband, and I'm like, oh shit, they're doing this, you know, like yeah.
Yeah. And man, how's that been for you? I mean, you're a married man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How has been navigating that from a relationships space and a marriage space, matched up for you? Is there a difference?
Yeah, only in the sense of the way we/I got to approach this marriage was so, it's an overused word, but it was such a conscious choice, you know, like we didn't have to do this thing. I'm 42, you know, I got to a point I never really thought I would get married. So to make this decision, it came from such a free place of like, oh, I want to do this with this person, and I want to do it with this person almost as a statement to the world that we're standing for something together, you know, and also for that to be governmental and legal, but also spiritual and soul. And so this to be a contract and an agreement between us that is an alliance, you know, because we're holding kind of temple spaces and open relationship reality, something about earthing, grounding, and putting a definition and a label around that has stabilized the whole thing, where it's like, okay, I can maybe go on a date with someone, or I can be in a ritual space, erotic experience with someone, but that's my wife. So like, you know, we can have an amazing experience, but there's less. It's funny, this is the place I went to it, but you know, there's 100% clarity of we're committed to kind of a long-term mission together, you know? And also there was a really beautiful piece for me. We set this date, you know, you have to commit to it a month before in Australia. Like you go and see the person and say, hey, we want to get married on 1 month from today or whatever. And we did it in the middle of COVID. So only 5 people could be there, you know, it's lockdown. So we did it in the forest at the top of a waterfall with, 2 very close friends who also do ritual with us, and a celebrant who seemed pretty relaxed and hip and switched on, so we could do whatever crazy stuff we wanted, and she would be cool with that. And as the date got closer, you know, I was seeing just images of like my granddad and my dad, and sort of sensing like these guys didn't really get a consciously informed decision about what marriage was and what it meant and why they would do it and what the rituals would mean. They just were in a society that handed them this structure, and they, you know, sign the form and become the thing because that's what you do. Whereas I had this huge, you know, I have no doubt, like I had this lineage moment of like, oh, I've got to be the first one who had this much choice of creative freedom around what this meant. You know, we're doing it on the top of this fucking beautiful waterfall overlooking this valley with my witchiest witch friend to do the soul vows after we've done the personality vows, you know, and I was like, we've designed and chosen this exactly the way we meant it. There's no like annoying cousins sitting at some table next to a bunch of, you know, there was no obligations of any external anything. It's just us. And I could feel, you know, since I was probably 14, I've thought marriage is a terrible idea. I'm like, who would do that? That's a trap. You know, why would you fucking da da da? And it's almost like that story got to almost come out of my body and out of my cells and be released. It's like, yeah, if you did it in an unconscious way, this would be awful, but we're not doing that. So there was this kind of like separating what we choose this to mean from what the call it the ancestral residue of what maybe the marriages may have been in my, you know, in the history of my family. Lots of things that were just, well, you got them pregnant, so you're getting married, or you're 20 years old, so that's what you do in this current situation. So it was really powerful in like I said, there's not a lot of initiations in this Western life. That was a legit, when she laid out the vows and we look at each other and claimed the person as whatever, it was like, oh fuck, like that was a legit. I felt not just this type of legal Aussie whatever. I was like, there's billions of people who've done this ritual in all cultures, and we're fucking doing it. And to feel I'm stable, I'm sane, I'm open, I'm relaxed, I'm conscious in my choice and in my love, and I'm stepping into an alliance, really is the best word, across all the board. It was just like, boom, this is a big power upgrade. And I felt it's a lot to do with my soul being enough landed in my body and my nervous system that I can commit to things that, say, me as a 30-year-old would have been like, dude, no fucking way. Because it was just scared of getting trapped in anything, right? Like, I don't want to be trapped in a thing. Whereas this is like, well, I'm standing here, my feet on the ground in a beautiful reality, like the world is in lockdown and we're in a forest at a giant waterfall with fucking rainbows in the sky, it's like, yeah. So it was a powerful experience. Thanks for asking.
Bro, that's freaking amazing. And the question then becomes, have you experienced a difference in how the polarity exploration has been between the two of you? Like, did you experience it the same before marriage, or was there a shift?
I think there's been a shift, but the shift almost happened before, because, Mia and I spent the first nearly 2 years traveling the world with a lot of like chaos and random. Oh, you're over here? Well, I'll meet you in Berlin. Okay, well, after Berlin, New Zealand. Okay, well, when you're in New Zealand, I'll be in Israel. But after that, I go to Egypt, but then I'll catch you in Bali. So that's 4 weeks. But, hopefully the connection still holds because I feel like you're important. And, this kind of like, so there was a lot of instability, but also excitement in that. And so we decided to move to Australia and base here. And then we found a base, which is this house that I'm in, which is this awesome base for us. And so we've been here for like 8, 9, maybe 10 months. And so this sort of stability energy had already come in, where it was almost like, well, it already feels like we are married. That's supported the decision to do this thing. It feels like we are in a shared, it's not just sex and sharing your dreams and then, okay, I've got to get a flight, I'll see you in the next place, which I know you know this rhythm as well. It was like, okay, we're building a base and a nest and a home, and our friends come for dinner and we do. And so what I felt is some decreasing in effortless polarity, just like, oh, just this just depending on this effortless spark energy, but more of a move towards resonance and heart. So it's almost more like we're vibrating together, and that's what strengthens this thing, versus like, my understanding of polarity is like, you're different to me, so I want to jump you right now, and it's like, we can still have that and we can create that, but it's not the foundation. It's more like that can be a thing that is exciting or keeps things alive or fun, but there's a lot. And it's like, we have committed to love itself first, which might be today we're having a conversation or we're cuddling, or today you're doing your work and I'm doing my work and we're supporting each other to do that. And then tomorrow we're linking into a romantic space or whatever. So it's transitioned into a stability first and then the other things on top,
That's really beautiful, man.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know if there's still relevance in asking this question, but has navigating the challenges changed? Do you take them on with a different seriousness since marriage?
I think it's easier because it's not like, I could just bail out tomorrow if I want, which we still affirm that we could. We're not holding like death to us part. It's like, well, if this ever wasn't the thing, we would undo the thing, but we've committed to something. So in a way, it's kind of like what they say, like, being 99% in is the most difficult thing, whether it's a business venture or it's like, that's hard because there's always that little door of like, I could fuck this off. Whereas once you've burnt the boats, it's like, wow, we're in this, you know? And so for me, there's a lot of romantic and emotional body patterns and history that is been dysfunctional or difficult that, you know, once upon a time, one of these feelings could end a relationship or really wobble. It's like, oh, I can't open through that. That's just too difficult. Whereas now it's like, I open through awkward feelings for breakfast. That's just part of the deal, you know. And so I think there's a strengthening of the resolve that that's just going to be part of loving and opening into love is going to be sometimes shedding stuff that comes up. It's like, well, that's, if you want to be in a field of love, you're going to have to shed layers of things that are not love. So today is one of those days, you know?
Yeah, you know, like when you when you're in a relationship, right? And it's just like maybe a young, fresh relationship. You're scared that some conversations will fuck the shit up, and so
Yeah,
you're like,
a bad feeling or a bad conversation could be the end of it, you know?
you stray away from some of that shit. You get
Mm-hmm.
married, you're like, listen, bitch, I know you're not going anywhere, so let's talk about that bullshit that you did yesterday. So it's really cool. It comes with like a fun freedom that I've experienced, and it's such a great invitation to really heal through the ugliest parts of you.
Yeah.
Like an average relationship will get you facing some fucked up shit parts of you. I mean, like those ones that there's strong resonance between you and another person. But like a committed relationship that comes with like the kinds of commitment that marriage brings, like there is like it actually gives you the freedom. I actually just had an image of having a Jeep Wrangler. It's like you won't drive your Merc in the desert and the fucking forest in the murky shit, but you get yourself a Jeep Wrangler, and that's what a marriage is, and you're like, yeah, is that a ditch I see? Into that bitch we're going, and like you kind of like. So I've gone through phases of like actually looking for the murky, shadowy nonsense that I've been hoarding in my life and haven't allowed myself to experience and go through, and the pain that I've like, oh, I can't bring that into the world. Like in this relationship, I look for that shit. I'm like, oh, everything looks clean. Wait, what's that over there? Yeah, no, we need to go talk about some shit. And then and it's healing, man. I feel like I've leveled up so much ever since we got married, and having this conversation just made me realize I've got 3 days to plan something for our anniversary. I've forgotten. But yeah, man. Yeah, that's been a blessing.
I think this brings us to a good place, man. If people are vibing your vibe, where can they follow you? How can they interact with you?
I'm gonna change this, but I've kind of like separated the artist, actor, celebrity space from the just get in touch and with the life conversations space. And if at the current moment you want to connect with me and just like, you know, see more of the sincere, real parts of me. If you're a man, let's do Vela Dada. If you're just a general human, Facebook is a great place to follow me on. And if you also want to keep up to date with what I'm doing from an artistic point of view, Instagram is a great place. My Facebook is Nyaniso. It's Nyaniso Ntsikelelo Dzedze. If you type in Nyaniso Dzedze, you should find it. I think I wrote my name backwards so that like the fans wouldn't like find me so easily and want to have like actor conversations on my Facebook. And so so I keep those worlds different. Anyway, on Instagram I'm just Nyaniso Dzedze, on Twitter Nyaniso Dzedze, and I think I've got a Facebook
fan page called Nyaniso Ntsikelelo Dzedze. But yeah, that's pretty much me. And if you want me to send you those written down, you can put them on the thing. That'll be cool.
Great. And if they want to meet Simba, they can watch Black is King.
Yes. Thanks for that link up. Thank you. Yes, please watch Black is King. It's such an important, beautiful, beautiful story, where Beyonce invites every person of color to just remember and reconnect with the beauty of what they have to offer to the world. And it's actually an opportunity for every human to reflect on that. But like we said, you know, with the current times, I guess the conversation is quite aimed at brown people and other colors and stuff.
Can't wait to watch it. If you listen to this episode, thank you very much. Please subscribe on Spotify or iTunes or YouTube or wherever, and please share the fuck out of it. Peace.
Yeah.